are brought to you by Joshua LaFon with Simply Vegas Real Estate, a realtor here to help educate current and future Las Vegas locals on selling and investing in real estate. You're probably asking yourself, educate. Yes, there's a surprising amount of adults that when it comes to real estate, don't know the right questions to ask, don't know where to start, and think they need a lot of cash to buy a house in Nevada, which simply isn't true. So Josh has decided to make it his responsibility to teach his clients what they need to know, and equally important, what they need to ask to help ensure making their home ownership dreams a true reality. So make sure you call or text Joshua LaFon today at 702-813-0533. This has been another paid advertisement from Joshua LaFon with Simply Vegas Real Estate. Make sure you give him a call, 702-813-0533.
You must be kicking yourself for not walking out when you could. Bad judgment. But don't you worry, son. It will all be over soon.
Anthony, give me a boy's name that starts with the letter H. Jose.
Bobby! It's me! Your daddy, Roberto! Daddy?
Occasionally, you may hear it pronounced as Joao. It depends.
It's called Rex Quando.
Look at me now. How far we go back? Elementary, jump rope, hide and go seek, pity pat, red light, green light, red light, green light.
Hello? You play to win the game.
You are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network.
It's right back at it. We got a fun show tonight. You already know what it is. I am your host, Jose V. You are tuning to Straight Bet Sports live here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. Wednesday night, just a little bit past 9 p.m. We're back to our regular time that we're doing here tonight. We got a packed house. A lot of people in studio tonight. Rob G, of course, my co-host, as always, in the studio. Got his fresh beverage, we'll call it that. He's ready for tonight's show. We got to get that hat fixed, though, like he said. But you got a little bet going with Quan tonight. Man. Quan called you out as soon as you walked in the studio because he saw you glanced over at the TV and said, give me the Lakers. So, Quan, real quick, let everybody know just what you got going on right here with Rob, because you walked in right away and you did not hesitate to get this bet.
Taking Rob's money.
As always. It's been back and forth.
Just taking Rob's money.
But yeah, they got a bet on the Laker game right here in the Summer League. We're going to talk NBA Summer League today. As you see the jersey, Chelsea pulled it off today. They are continuing to become and stay as the champions, the kings of Europe. We'll talk about that as well with some of the guests that we got in studio tonight. But go ahead and do me a favor. Do us all a favor, as you do every single Wednesday night. If you are watching this, go ahead and press the like button, the share. Throw a comment in there, follow, and we'll go from there. Let everyone know what you are enjoying tonight. We are on all Gorilla Cross radio platforms, GorillaCross.com, the Gorilla Cross app, which you can get on the Android platform and the Apple platform as well. Huge shout out to Apple. I actually got hired by them today, so appreciate that. Got a new journey there that we're going to start, so I'm pretty happy about that. But go ahead and share the feed. Let everyone know what you're enjoying. And if you miss it or you're joining us later on tonight and you see this or you just want to watch anything else that we have made or done in the past, check us out on all things social media at Straight Bet Sports, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. We post everything on there every single week after the show is done here. So we appreciate you guys. We're going to be talking a lot of soccer today, soccer heavy show. We're going to be talking some NBA Summer League. And of course, we got to talk some baseball. Everybody's wearing some baseball attire, and it's funny because we either got Chelsea or we got Dodgers on in the studio.
Keep it blue.
But with that being said, without further ado, fellas, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's go ahead and let everyone know who else is in the building with us tonight, Rob. We have sponsoring tonight's show, since it was a soccer-heavy show, and we wanted to get him in the studio and chop it up with us. Not only that, he's my fellow Chelsea fan right over here in front of me to my right, Brian Aleman of the American Outlaws. What's good, my man? How you doing tonight?
Guys? How's it going?
Not only that, you brought us some food here, if you guys do not
I don't know about all that, dude.
What? He brought us some chile verde with
Where
some
is
pork. It's right here in the back. We got it for later. Rob's ready. He's like, where's it at?
He's like, I'm hungry.
But Brian, we appreciate you, man, as always. Not only that, if you guys do not know, Brian is with the American Outlaws Las Vegas chapter. He's already jumped in with us a few times here on Straight Bet Sports on Gorilla Cross Radio, so we appreciate his sponsorship and his support. But since you're here, I'm going to let you go ahead and plug it away, man. Go ahead and let people know about a little bit more about the American Outlaws, what you got going on, and some future events that you do have that you were telling me about earlier.
Yeah, man. So we're getting ready for World Cup qualifiers. The United States starts their slate here in September. On the first week, September 2nd, we take on El Salvador. On the 5th, we take on Canada. And on the 8th, we take on Honduras, all within a week of itself. It's going to be a dope time. We hang out over at Hennessy's in downtown Las Vegas. They're our home, so shout out to them as well. Shout out to any other AO members that are watching currently. We're just getting excited. I mean, we beat Mexico back-to-back and within a month and a half time. Hopefully riding that hype and get qualified for the World Cup and hopefully win that in next year in the wintertime, right before Christmas. That'd be real nice.
There we go, Brian. So we got the logo up on the screen. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find the American Outlaws and yourself, of course, on all things social media. And I know there's a web page as well, I believe.
Yeah, so on Instagram, it is Vegas_Outlaws. And on Twitter, it is AO_Outlaws. And then our website is AOLasVegas.com. And you can find us all on Facebook. Just look up American Outlaws Las Vegas and follow us. And let's keep this thing growing and make some good times out here wearing the red, white, and blue.
USA is looking a lot better. They're a lot more of a different team, a lot more different hype around the team, I think, that there has been in the past. So that's pretty cool. And I like what you guys do there because you're getting people together. And right now with everything going on with the pandemic, in and out, it going away, it coming back.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
It's good that you guys are still doing things because you're still bringing people together, especially with soccer. Soccer's up there with, I mean, I love football. I think it's the greatest sport out there. But obviously, when it comes to international, soccer's the way to go, man. Soccer's grown so much more. Not saying that it wasn't that popular in the past, but it's grown so much. Now, you said El Salvador.
Yeah, man.
We have a Salvadoran in the building.
Yo también.
The one and only, our personal barber and our sponsor of this show as well, Erik Navarro of Line 'em Up by Erik. We wanted to have him in the studio to chop it up with us tonight because I know he's a big Dodger fan, but he was also talking to me about how he's a huge Salvadorian soccer fan. And I didn't know that Salvador had a soccer team, so, you know.
Oh, dude,
Knock it off.
They're
pretty
scary.
like that.
They are
Knock
scary,
it off.
sir.
But let's go ahead and welcome him in, man. Erik Navarro, my man. What's going on, man? How's everything with you tonight?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You ready to chop it up tonight?
Let's do it, man. I don't really know as much as you guys do, but I'm going to try to hang in.
Well, I told you, what are we doing? We're at the barbershop. You got the TV on,
just
we chop it up, we give our opinions, right?
Yeah.
Lakers made a lot of moves. We're going to talk Summer League. I know you got a lot of thoughts with the stuff that happened with the Lakers.
Retirement City.
I know you got Retirement City. I know you.
Oldest roster in NBA history, but we're still going to do it, yeah.
I know you got a lot of thoughts with Russell Westbrook, so I want to get your thoughts on that because I know you and I have talked about Russell Westbrook a lot, even before you came to the Lakers, but I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot, just like I did, Brian. I'm going to let Quan go ahead and put up the graphic, you know, your business card, your logo up there. Let everyone know a little bit about you, where they can find you, and not only that, where they can find you on all things social media to hit you up.
All right, well, basically, it's just haircuts, man. Whole bunch of haircuts. Working out of a 5-star barbershop right now over on the north side on Ann and Simmons.
Yep.
You can see my work on Line 'em Up by Erik on IG. That's really all I do. I don't really do the whole social media thing. But if you'd like to see my work, that's where I'm at. And just, like I said, a whole bunch of haircuts. You can either hit me up on IG or phone number 702-884-8138. Or like I said, IG. Hit me up.
And let everybody know what you do, though. You're a barber, but you do it all, right? You do kids' hair, especially now, bro, with back to school season, you told me. It's crazy, right? But for adults, you do it all. You do the beards. You do all that, right?
We do it all. Yeah, everything from front to bottom, yep.
What days are you off for the people can know that at least so they won't be hitting you up on those days and trying to get in?
So my schedule is I'm off Sundays and Wednesdays, and that's because, you know, I get my grandson on those days.
Okay.
So those are me and his days. But any other day, you can catch me at the shop cutting up.
Okay. And Erik was out there with us. Remember when we were at the horse trailer hideout?
Yeah.
So we appreciate that, my man. Definitely
supporting.
Good times.
That was a long night. Yeah.
And
that was a wild night.
That was a wild, bro. Tell me about it.
That was a wild night.
I got a ticket from parking, not driving, parking, because I ended up parking across the street.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy night.
We talked about that.
It was a crazy night.
It was
a crazy
I missed it by like.
From what I
You missed it by
remember,
that much?
Well, my flight came in literally 15 minutes right as the game, like 15 minutes before the game was ending.
man.
I got delayed in Washington
Okay.
for like 3 hours, and I was just like, man, if I get back in town, just dump my stuff in the car and just go straight there, and ended up sitting on the tarmac and all that.
You
So-
got your headphone on upside down.
I
on
know.
that side.
I like hearing.
Oh, you like to hear?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure that
I have a
everything's
weird
good.
thing, man. Yeah.
So once again, you guys are tuned in live to Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. If you're watching this, go ahead and press that like button, share, comment. We'll go from there. Let everyone know what you are enjoying. We greatly appreciate you guys as always. Now, you see the Chelsea attire. Me and Brian got it on. You see the Dodger attire. We're going to talk some Dodgers and some soccer as well. Big day in soccer today. Big 24 hours, more than anything, I'm going to say. Maybe 2-3 days here in soccer. But before we get on to that, I do got to just get a few things out of the way that I wanted to say. Real quick, happy late birthday to my wife, Berenice Volonte. Her birthday was last Saturday. We went to the Circa, new casino out there in downtown Las Vegas. The greatest casino I've been to so far. I'm not going to lie to you. The hotel rooms were amazing. So, Stadium Swim, if you have not checked it out, is awesome, bro. I mean, if you're a guy and you're trying to watch sports and your girl still wants to be at the pool and enjoy yourself as well, you have it all. Not only that, on the right side of the bars, they have where you can bet. They got the kiosk, so you can bet on the games while you're there. You don't have to leave Stadium Swim and go to the sports books or anything like that. So it's awesome. Not only that, it's 21 and over. So I love that. No kids, just adults only. So it's a cool atmosphere. But I got to give a big shout out to Derek Stevens, the owner of the D. So me and my wife were hanging out at the main bar. Circa, I'm sorry. And he is the owner of the D as well.
Yeah. Thanks, go.
So we're hanging out at the very end of the bar, the left side of the bar, which at that time I didn't know that was his spot. The slot machine at the end actually says Derek Stevens, right? There's a trophy right there. And I'm starting to read it. A bunch of guys show up. And I'm like, oh, is that the owner? They're like, yo, that's the owner and his son. You know, they got a fantasy team, whatever, this and that. Next thing you know, and Rob knows me. I'm a social guy. I talk. Rob's like, this guy, butterfly. I talk to everybody, social butterfly, neighbors, all that. But that's just me, right? I like to conversate. And not only that, there's opportunities sometimes that are in front of you that you don't want to let go, that could come from it and grab it and be more, right? So long story short, we end up meeting Derek Stevens, the owner of the Circa. He shows up, had just finished doing a show on VSiN. He's got the pink and white striped suit. I'm talking about bright suit sitting there. He's already a little tipsy. So I'm like, Derek. And one of his guys comes over to me. He's like, yeah, he's a little drunk. He can't really hear you. He's like, what's up? I'm like, oh no, me and my wife were staying here. It's her birthday. Just want to know if we could take a picture with him, man. Say thank you. That's all. So he leans over, starts talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, are you gonna join the contest? I'm just, I'm thinking about it, whatever. Just send him that. Not really gonna join the contest right now. That's not what's on my mind. But you gotta accept what's in front of you and talk to the guy, right? So long story short, I told him about the show. I told him about Gorilla Cross. I told him about Straight Bet Sports. As soon as he hears that I have a show, he goes, who's your host? So, I don't have one. We're just staying here at night. It's my wife's birthday. Oh, it's your wife's birthday? You got one now. He tells this guy that's next to me, give him your business card, whatever they need, I got him. We end up hanging out there for another 45 minutes to an hour at that end table with the bar with Derek Stevens and his whole entourage. Got 3 more shots, 2 more drinks, all on him. Didn't ask us for a dime. Even took a picture with us, which was awesome. Gave me his business card. So that's why now I was even telling Quan, I got to get business cards because you never know. That could be in the works. I'm already talking to people that I met that night, and we're trying to get Derek on the show. So I'm not going to use his name for that, for clout or anything like that. I'm using it to say thank you. That was an amazing night. If you do end up watching this or someone shares it, especially the people that were with us that night, because I know you're following us on Twitter now, and you watch it, we appreciate you, and hopefully we can get you on the show, Derek. But big shout out to Circa, amazing casino. If you guys not checked it out, go ahead and check it out now.
It's a big sigh from our host Quan real quick. I don't know
if Quan was signed because of what I was saying or the game. What's going on?
I hope none of these guys make the team.
McClung just got signed, right?
Dude's garbage.
Oh, he did get signed though.
I like Reeves. You don't like Austin Reeves?
Listen, man, McClung will be very good in China.
Jimmer Fredette
style.
Yeah, he's like the dunking version of Fredette.
The dunking version of him.
He's pretty good, but yeah, they just signed
he's
him.
like 5'7".
Right, they just signed him though, right?
Yeah,
it's a 2-way deal.
Okay,
that doesn't mean anything.
Can you explain to me how that works? I don't know how the 2-way deals work.
It's basically like
2-way deal. You have partial NBA contract and mainly a contract in the G League.
Yeah, which and you get paid more for each game you get when you get called NBA, up. Yeah, so like if you get called up for like 7 games, only those 7 games in your contract, you get paid more money than you would.
Your salary
in the G
goes
League.
up.
Yeah, just for those games.
Dude, the number 2 overall pick, since we're talking G League, was from the G League. Was it Jalen Green from Houston? Right? Did I got the name right? Got the name wrong?
Yep.
Dude, he skipped his 1 year and said, I'm gonna go to the G League. I like that. I like the fact that the NBA is doing that and that they're allowing these guys to say, hey, if you don't want to go to college, which I'm okay with that. Why go to college for 1 year and do the one and done rule and just give a little bit of hype and then take away from some of the big name programs that are getting these one and done guys?
They need to get rid of that one and done rule again.
Granted, John Calipari's done a great job with what he's done with Kentucky, but I think he could have probably won more championships if he didn't have so many one and dones. You know what I'm saying? Have these guys a little bit more. Nothing wrong with the kids. If they want to do it, so be it. But I like now that they're not making the colleges go through it, bro, because you're letting these kids go straight to the NBA technically now.
Yep.
but there's a bypass rule, so it's working. I mean, I like it. I don't know if you guys like it.
It keeps them in the States too, instead of maybe possibly playing overseas, right? Because a lot of them have to go over. Well, not say have to go overseas, but they like to, keep playing and keep the exposure.
Way more over there too.
Yeah, and keep the exposure and stuff and keep the exposure going. So it keeps them in the States. It keeps the the recognition going, and it's something new for all of us. We're not used to really seeing it yet, but it obviously the number 2 pick just went out of the G League, so. There's more to come from everything that the NBA is kind of developing from a developmental league style, side.
So who's been to any summer league games, whether it's this year or in the past? I mean, I know you and I have gone.
Yeah, I've gone every year.
But have you guys gone to any games?
Not this year.
Not this year at all. Do you plan on going to any games this year?
I'm gonna try to.
I'm trying to go
I was
this
thinking
weekend.
of going at least to one game.
Sunday's
I'm
the
gonna be in
last day,
Cali
right?
this weekend, but
Sunday's the last day.
I'm trying to go Saturday.
I'm trying to see if I can get there. I want to go to a game either tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah. I mean, the tickets aren't that expensive either. Like, I think they're like $20-$30. I mean, I think they're cheaper.
$40.
If you I think they were like $40. Like when they became available, and then now when if you wait last minute, you can get them for kind of cheap. Yeah, you can get them for pretty cheap actually.
And it's crazy what the NBA Summer League has turned into.
Yeah,
it used to be something small, bro. Like now everybody's coming out here and they're filling up the stands. If it wasn't for COVID, we'd probably have a lot more people, I think, in general.
You can watch some really good games in the Cox Pavilion, too. It's such a small arena.
Yeah.
And there's only like 10 rows. And if you can get a good team playing in there, I mean, you're literally like 10 feet away from the court. And you get to see everything.
Even if you have nosebleed at the Cox Pavilion, bro, it's not really nosebleed.
Not really
it's
nosebleed.
It's a gym. You know what I mean? It's literally a gym.
It's like a high school gym.
Yeah, it's literally all it is, a high school gym. Eric, since you're so quiet, my man.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
You good over there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
You waking up?
Yeah, a little bit.
You follow any of this NBA Summer League?
I'm trying, man.
I tell them to throw it on at the barbershop. Just leave it on.
Just leave it on.
Just
bro.
don't even turn it off at night.
It's a little bit harder,
They show
the whole
reruns.
COVID thing. It kind of takes you out of the mood. But sports has a different feeling these last couple of years. Usually I do keep up with the D League. This year, not so much. Last year I did attend one. This year, probably not. I was trying to catch that preseason game for the Raiders, but
that's on Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's on Saturday.
That's also Saturday, yeah. So probably won't happen, man, but got next year.
So real quick, I know we're not talking football, but he just mentioned it. I know you got season tickets. Do they give you guys any options for the preseason games?
Yeah, so we have, it's built into the.
So it's part of it.
It's part. It's 10 games. You get 10 games. So you get you get your this year is different, right? Because the Raiders only played one home game, but it's 8 homes. It's supposed to be 8 regular season games, home games, and then 2 preseason. But this year, because of the way that they structured it, it's 1 preseason and 9 home games. So
Chicago game, right?
Yep. The Chicago game got added. So it's preseason on Saturday. And then they're on the road the next 2 weeks, and then the season starts.
So are you going, or are you selling your tickets?
I'm selling my tickets.
Do you already have a buyer or no?
I already sold the Seahawks. Seahawks are gone. Chiefs are gone. Redskins are gone, but I got everything else still. So I'm still, the Ravens are the big one.
You can't say that word anymore. The R word.
It's the Washington football team now.
The Washington football team.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize.
Racist and sexist.
Quote.
I'm calling you out.
Inside joke. He just lost $10. He's gonna.
Oh, is it over?
Someone's sour.
Evander Kane's wife over here just ratting me out, just going off on me, letting all my secrets out.
Oh my god,
that was a good game though, man. Good bet.
See, I like that.
Who was commentating that game? Doris Burke.
Doris Burke, yeah.
Was commentating that game.
So what are your thoughts on Doris Burke, Rob? By the way,
Jesus.
That's the off-air.
As Quan leads into it.
Background noise.
Background noise. We don't want to say anything to hurt anybody or get anybody upset around us, but it is what it is. But anyways, I like Summer League. I like what they've done with it. I like what the NBA is doing. Not only that, it's giving a lot of these guys those opportunities with these 2-way contracts, like Quan was talking about. That, all right, you're not going to start the season with the main team, but you got those opportunities to jump up. You got those opportunities to come here and make money. Now, let's stick to NBA before we get into some soccer talk. I had a buddy of mine that texted me this article. Obviously, there's articles everywhere, sources here, there, this, and that, right? I don't know if you guys saw the proposed trade with Philly, Portland, and Golden State, where CJ McCollum and I forgot what other player would go to Philly with some draft picks. Portland, I forgot who Portland would get, but I know Golden State would get Steph's brother, and they would also get Ben Simmons.
Who would Portland get in that situation? Like
draft picks and money, I think it is.
That
I'm looking it up right now.
I was looking at Quan for the NBA
So
answers.
look,
Just like, what they getting, Quan?
I just want to make sure that I have it because it's right here in front of me. So I want to make sure that I give you guys the correct information. So it's a possible 3-way trade, right? So here's what it is. It was in the proposed trade scenario by Sports Now, the Warriors would get Curry and Ben Simmons. The Sixers would receive CJ McCullough, Damian Lee, and 2 future first-round picks, while the Trailblazers would obtain Andrew Wiggins and Moses Moody.
What? Like,
I like it for Golden State. Call me crazy.
I like it for everyone except the Trailblazers.
Yeah, Blazers miss out on a lot.
Yeah, right. I mean, you lose McCollum, who's a great number 2, right? And can make those clutch shots, steps up in big time. Definitely deserves more spotlight than what he's getting right now behind Dame. But yeah, I wouldn't if I were Portland. I mean, what you're trying to get some money off the books? What are you trying to do here? Because he's a
CJ,
right? He's really. I take McCollum. I would keep him in that situation.
But see, at this point, if this trade happens, what happens with Dame? What are we doing with Dame at this point?
Right.
Or what's in Dame's mind at this point?
Exactly.
Like, you're not bringing anybody in, and now you're getting rid of someone like CJ. What does that tell you as a player that this organization is doing? Not much for me to stay around. Like, obviously, I'm not Damian Lillard. I'm not in his head. I don't know what he's thinking. But if it's me, I don't feel that they care about me or the longevity of me staying with this team. Because if you're really possibly thinking of pulling the trigger on this trade and getting rid of my number 2 guy, because CJ's his number 2 guy, let's be real. You only brought in Carmelo, which we know who Carmelo is and isn't. He wasn't the guy that was going to change anything for the Portland Trail Blazers or Damian Lillard for them to win a chip. He brought them a little more, some scoring, some excitement. We get that.
That's a trade proposal by a website, though, right? Is that what,
correct. These are proposed trades, but it's not just on one website. It's on more than one. So that's what I'm saying. If this were to happen and you're Damian Lillard, I'm not liking it. At this point, if it's speculation, then it might come out that I'm out. I really want to get out at this point. But then if that happens, then you want, I like that beat. But if you want to get out, where are you going to get out at this point? Who is going to take you? Who has enough leverage or enough to pull that trigger on a Damian Lillard trade?
I don't know.
And then people are making a big deal about what Dame posted on Instagram too.
What did he post?
Let me pull it up.
What do you think, Eric, though? What do you think about all this? You think Ben Simmons will be good with Golden State? Or you're not a big Ben Simmons fan?
I don't think Ben Simmons will be good with anybody, to be honest.
That's a truth right there.
Why? Why? Give me your
He
explanation.
just doesn't have it in him, man. He doesn't have that work ethic in him. People say it all the time. I'm not an expert. I don't really follow Philly like that. I'm a big Laker fan, and I follow all Laker games. I don't really see Ben fitting in with anybody, really. I mean, maybe on a average low-level team, maybe, probably.
He's a point guard who can't shoot.
Right.
I mean, he's a point guard who can't shoot.
But that's what I'm saying. With Golden State, it's a perfect fit. He don't have to shoot.
Exactly. So if he was, it is a great fit with Golden State, right? But in order for that to work, I mean, Portland's got to be involved in it, and I would definitely bow out of that.
Right. For him to draw attention, he's got to be some type of shooter. You know, even if he does go to Golden State, he's not going to be able to make plays, I don't believe. I mean, what's he going to do? Run it in and dish it out?
Right.
He's stepping into like I'm going to say, I know with him and Embiid, like he shares a lot of that spotlight, but if he definitely goes to Golden State and they don't
weight's off his shoulders
and they don't get, I mean, he can definitely, there can go two ways, right? It's a double-edged sword. He can definitely maybe thrive in that, role player role.
Or just disappear.
Or just exactly disappear and just
shade
not
into the darkness.
Yeah. And just never be, just kind of, get way overshadowed by
just send him down to the Santa Cruz Warriors and just
The
work on
Santa
his jump
Cruz
shot.
by
Warriors.
Curry, Clay, Draymond's still there. They just re-signed Iguodala, right? They're bringing back they're bringing back the championship team. So it's nice to have blockbuster trades like that.
Yeah.
But when
Makes
you
for a good conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, we just talked about it for 5 minutes straight. But yeah, I would if Portland. Yeah, it's not. I don't like that.
Once again, you're tuning to Straight Bet Sports live here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you joining us tonight and every single Wednesday night as you do. Big shout out to Goose Thomas. He's with Rob. He said, my one preseason ticket is sold for the Hawks. So he's like, I'm not going because he also has Raiders.
Oh, he's splitting it with something. Remember, he say
no, Goose Thomas.
No, but he says his one preseason. Oh, it's bro. Okay, probably sharing it with someone.
Probably something like that. But he sold his. So
they're going for pretty cheap. I'll be honest with you. The last time I checked, they were like $75. I mean, plus tax. I mean, just getting in the building for $75 is not a bad deal. I mean,
Yeah.
you get this. I mean, you don't know who you're going to see, right?
Correct.
But you know,
And
when
it's still a Allegiant Stadium. It's an NFL atmosphere,
and it's the Raiders, right?
Yeah, and
Who
it's
is
the Raiders.
it's huge experience, you know, and I'm sure all the fans are going to be there regardless of what product they're putting on the field. So I still think it's a good buy at 75. I mean, even if you wait a little bit longer, you know, maybe get in there for $50-$60.
So let's talk Lakers. Let's finish it off. Let's finish off talking NBA with some Laker talk because I want to get Eric's thoughts.
Yeah, let's hear Eric because I
wanna
already
get
went off
Eric's
last
thoughts.
week about
He already-
who I like and who I don't
exactly. He was already talking about the Lakers and he's a Laker fan, so we're gonna put you on blast right here, my man. We're gonna put you on blast because we want to get your thoughts on what you think and how you feel about the Lake Show. Look, see, he did do it today.
like. I told you he always does it.
Modelo time. Anyways, but yeah, Eric. Let us know how you feel about the Lakers. We talked about it last week. We talked NBA free agency. We talked about all these deals that went down. Not only that, the Lakers super team right now, if you want to call it that. And I read it in 2 different articles, 2 different websites. The Lakers are thinking of bringing back Isaiah Thomas if he can stay healthy and prove that he can pass the physical. I like that because I like Isaiah and I think he can still give some. What are your thoughts on the Lakers right now with everybody that they got? I'm not going to name everyone. You know who they are. You follow the team. You've been watching SportsCenter. Are they the legitimate favorite now to win the title in your eyes? And don't give me the Laker fan. Don't give me the Laker fan answer. Give me the actual
For
NBA
the next
fan
10
answer.
years.
How do you feel about everything that went down with the Lakers, the moves that they did? And is it worth it? Because you even said it. They're the oldest team in the league. The average age is 33 years old. The youngest starter projected is 28 years old, and that's Anthony Davis.
Well, to start off, the Isaiah Thomas news is new to me. That's kind of exciting. Didn't he just score 81 points?
Yep.
What was it? Last
Pro-Am
night?
game, right?
Pro-Am game, something like that,
yeah.
yeah.
Right. So, he's always been a grinder, man. He was dope with Boston. I like him. I always have. I'm not a Boston fan, you know that. But
Correct. You give respect where it's due. though.
He's dope, man. He's really dope. Getting back to our roster, yeah, it is the oldest roster on paper in NBA history. Big names, you can't do nothing but get excited about it. Of course, they're expected to do a lot, and if they don't, we're gonna have a lot of people clowning us. You know that.
For sure.
People love to hate. But I don't know, man. Let's. I believe that the Lakers will come out of the West. Whether they'll take it, if Brooklyn meets them there, that's gonna be tough, man.
That'd be nice though.
I'm a Laker fan, man. I'm you know me, Lakers 2022, man. Let's go. Let's get it.
That's the finals everyone wants to see, right? That's what we wanted to see last year. We wanted to see, or this past season.
Yeah.
Is
I think
Nets.
Brooklyn and LA would be the best finals you would see.
Of
Right.
course.
But as long as everybody goes into it healthy.
Right.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because if you're going to have a team that's average age 33 years old, you're going to talk about health. That's why all the other signings that they brought in, some of the guys they brought back that people are making fun of, these are guys that are going to give you those good 9-10 minutes. I know they don't sound that great, but those 8 or 9-10 minutes that you're going to help LeBron get off the court or any of these Russell Westbrook get off the court. You have guys like Trevor Ariza, Kendrick Nunn, the guys that they picked up that are going to give you those type of minutes that it's going to help when it comes to quote unquote load management, if you want to call it that. You see what I'm saying? Instead of LeBron and AD and these players having to sit 2 or 3 games because they want to rest, they might not have to do that anymore as long as these key role players that they sign can come in. A lot of the guys that they signed had career years that were shooting over 40% from the 3-point line, things like that. So they brought in a little more shooters. So it's interesting to see. As a Laker fan, I've been going over this since the last show, since we talked about it. People are going to call me crazy just because I'm a Laker fan. I honestly think that it's between us and Brooklyn, and there is no other in or out. I think the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets right now are the 2 best teams in the NBA without having to play the game yet with whatever rosters we got. Right. Granted, Brooklyn, I think, didn't really do much movement. They're pretty much the same what they had last year. The Lakers are the ones that revamped completely. So call me crazy. I think it's Brooklyn and the Lakers that are 100% favorites.
It has to be.
It has to be. I mean, if we're going off bets, I got the bets here. Obviously, if we got the lines, Lakers are plus 300 to win it all. Right below them, Nets plus 350, and the Warriors at plus 550. That's the interesting one because the Warriors didn't even make the playoffs last year, right?
Right.
They were fighting
They
for
haven't
it.
been healthy for how long now?
But that's what I'm saying. I know you're gonna get Clay back, right? He's supposed to be healthy. I know you got Steph still. You have your core players. they're that favorite, and there's rumors of possible trades and things that are going on. And not only that, they haven't been anything for the last couple years. So it's crazy what the odds makers are thinking.
Who's after the Golden State?
What's that?
Who's after Golden State?
After Golden State, the Bucks, the defending champs, at plus 800.
And the next?
Suns plus 1,600 at doubles.
Keep going.
Clippers plus 1,600.
Okay.
Jazz plus 2,000. 76ers plus 2,000. Hawks 22-1, which I kind of like that one. This is the one that I really like. As long as Murray is healthy all season. The Denver Nuggets are 28-1 to win the NBA championship.
That's a really good one.
If you're looking to get some value off of your money and you're not just trying to get one of these favorites, 28-1 is not a bad pick.
That's a really good bet that you can actually take and possibly flip that ticket later on later on during the year, closer to the playoff time, or even during playoffs, because you know they're a playoff team, right? When
100%.
Murray's healthy, they're I don't want to say they're 100% locked, but they're a playoff team, right? And
even without Murray.
Yeah, and depending and
Even without Murray, you got the MVP.
And depending on where they finish, I mean, you can really, I mean, you can flip that ticket no matter. That's actually a really good bet. Like you're going over.
See, that's why I wanted to bring up these odds.
Yeah,
I know it was
28-1, especially with that prop swap or whatever, where you can
exactly.
you can flip your ticket now. So, yeah, you can definitely. I think that's a lock. I mean, they'd really have to fall off the map in order to not get better odds than that as the playoffs approach next. This upcoming season.
Here's one for you, if you want to take a shot. I know it's crazy, and they're just coming back to relevance. The Knicks 40-1.
Nah, I'm straight.
No, okay.
Maybe with the
I still like Dallas.
Like that, you know?
Yeah, I still like Dallas. I
don't
Dallas
think Lillard would do that to himself, though. Look at every single signing that the Knicks have made in the last 5-10 years.
Not the greatest. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying not the greatest. I mean, everybody comes in with these crazy hopes that this is going to be the chosen one that's going to change everything, and look what's happened.
I mean,
Same
but
thing
they
every
did make it
single
to the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
You know, that. I mean, talking about the Knicks, that's a huge step up for the Knicks. You know.
I know. I don't disagree with that. But to finish though,
how long?
Yeah, they haven't been relevant until last year.
For they came in number 4 seed,
Four,
right?
yeah.
4 seed, and then
lost 4-1 against the Hawks.
Right,
but
so
they made it.
The
though,
lower
man.
seed.
They made it.
Hey, Trae Young, man, he ain't no joke.
Trae Young,
but that's a win. I
Trae
mean,
Young
for
is
what the Knicks
legit.
have been doing over the last 20 years, like that's a win. I mean, if you're counting that as a win, like, hey, we made it to the playoffs, that's a W. Like,
Of course, now you got to do more than that.
yeah, you may be a little bit ahead of schedule, but I mean, they don't even have a superstar. So.
Once again, you're tuning to Straight Bet Sports live here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. Quan, I just noticed something.
He owes me $10.
No, Brian's name tag is wrong.
Uh-oh.
But it's all good.
Who does it say?
It says that we got 2 Erik Navarros in the building.
Let's go.
I mean, it's all good.
2 Salvadorians. That's all good.
That's all good, right? That's all that
good.
matters.
It's all love.
But fellas, let's jump into some soccer talk, please. We got a lot to talk about when it comes to soccer. Obviously, Messi. A lot of movement with Messi. But let's start off with the game that happened today. Obviously, you and I were going back and forth on our Chelsea group chat that we have here in Las Vegas. Chelsea pulls off the victory, technically 6-5 in penalty shootouts. Crazy game. The craziest thing about it, backup goalkeeper. If you guys did not watch this game, Tuchel makes a move at the 119th minute, I believe, right? A minute before the game's basically called off after the second extra time. Brings in his backup goalkeeper. And the best part about it is that the main goalkeeper didn't even fight it. Didn't even come out. He was cool with it. He understood what was going on. Now, at the time, we didn't know this, but we found out about this after the game, Brian, that we were wondering, why did Tuchel make this move? What was it about
I was flipping
this
out.
move that he saw, right?
I was like, why is this dude warming up right now?
Like, what is he doing? We're trying to win the Super Cup final here, right?
Yeah.
But afterwards, it came out that he has analysts and people that check statistics, and that statistics showed that Kepa was the better goalkeeper to bring in. Obviously, it proved it did. He stopped 2 of the goals.
Yep.
And he stopped them looking pretty good, too. It was very convincing.
He guessed, what was it? He predicted the direction of the shot, I think, out of on 4 of them. And then one of them he jumped a little early. But, I mean, he knows he knew for the most part where the ball was going. And just either it was too fast or he jumped a little too early or too late. But, yeah, I mean, obviously we're not head coaches on a team that's owned by a billionaire, right? So clearly Tuchel knows way more than we did. But yeah, I was terrified. Like, just in the group, like I said, it's like, what is happening? He's Kepa shorter and slower than Mendy, and proved me wrong. I mean, happily proved me wrong, but yeah, it was a little sketchy when I saw him warming up, and I was like, what is happening right now?
It was scary to see.
Well, I thought Mendy got hurt because I thought I missed something because I was working at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is going on? And then Yeah, nah, shut me up real quick.
So look, another thing too, though, a lot of people are saying it, and I even heard it out there, and even the commentators on Spanish said it, but they didn't say it in a bad way. They said it from what they're seeing and people talk too. They basically throw down the Supercopa. They basically say it's not really that big of a championship. It doesn't really matter. In my opinion, I disagree. You have the UEFA Cup champion, which the UEFA Cup is one of the
Europa.
Not, yeah.
You
know what I mean?
Secondary cup. Yeah.
It's just, it means a lot. At the end of the day, you got to understand that if you're gonna get silverware, any silverware matters. I get it that some are on a higher level, right? Some mean more. But you got to agree with me that no matter what silverware it is, every piece of silverware that you gather matters, especially for a guy like Tuchel right now after winning the UEFA Champions League, right?
Yep.
After trying to show everyone, we're going to turn the page here with Chelsea and bring them back. Chelsea had a lot of different managers before him that didn't pan out the right way that they expected it to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? So, like, Frank Lampard, like, I don't care what anybody tells you. I mean, Tuchel would not gotten where he got with this team without some of the foundations that Lampard had put in place, right?
Okay.
Like bringing in Tammy Abraham, bringing back Callum Hudson-Odoi, all these other cats that were from the youth team, bringing them back from the loans and stuff like that. Billy Gilmore, all these younger guys, and of course they had some signings and stuff when Tuchel took over. But for the most part, this was Lampard's team. He just kind of, I don't know if he lost them or his tactics just weren't there, but Tuchel obviously was good enough to get him to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Not to win the EPL because they were a little too far behind. But if this rumor that Lukaku is coming back, I mean, that's going to solve the answer in the front. Because I mean, even today, like in an article that I was reading earlier, how long can Tuchel wait on Timo Werner, another German? They have that German connection and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Ziyech got hurt. Kai Havertz had some really bad passes and misses. If you have a guy that's solid up front and you get good service, from a Pulisic, if he's not, feeding the ball to you, from a Kante, from a Jorginho, they could win EPL. They could win the Champions League. I don't care what PSG's doing right now, honestly.
Which we're going to talk about that.
We'll get to that in a bit. But there's a lot of cause for concern for a lot of the teams in England right now. If Lukaku goes, I think that catapults them to the top, honestly. And that's just not me talking as a Chelsea fan. That's just looking at statistics and
the way it is.
And how he finishes. Nobody finishes like Lukaku. Just look what he did in the Euros when he just muscled his way through a really, like, a whole collapsed defense. Like, it was like 6 dudes on him. Muscled through all of them and just...
He's what?
His style just fits Premier League. That like that rough
He's a
and
bully.
tough. Yeah, exactly.
He's a bully.
And that's what you have to be in the Premier League, is literally a bully like that. That that Europe. Like Spanish, or Spain tiki taka. Back and forth. If in Premier League is meant to.
It's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough.
And you don't necessarily have to be as fast to succeed in that league. And just knowing the way that Lukaku plays, I think that him, if he goes to Chelsea, I definitely do agree that kind of puts them towards the top. Of the odds, especially with Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool, that's my team, right? And they've kind of, that's like the third time.
Sorry,
that's my fault. That's my fault. So I'm saying
good.
that's my fault. But that's, they've these last year, like, they really fell off, Liverpool, right? And there's a couple times where I would text my, fellow Liverpool fans, and I'd be like,
with injuries too, though, right? Like Van Dijk was hurt.
A lot of injuries, right? But there are certain games that they should have won for sure. I know there's always those games in the Premier League that Chelsea, that Liverpool, that Man City, that Tottenham lose, and they're just like, but then again, you're always like, it's the Premier League, right? Where anything can happen on a given day, especially when it's, during the week on a Tuesday. You're like, dude, Tottenham lost today to, the last place team. But I think that there was certain situations that, Klopp he got out coached, and he didn't put the right squad on the field for what he had remaining, minus the injuries. And there was a couple times where I was like, is it time? You think, with his track record with Liverpool, like how we look at him like he has like the longest leash, right?
Yeah.
Like he has a huge leash, and the way that they kind of performed given the situation. I know they, like we said, they had injuries, but a couple times I text some people like, is it time? Is it time to maybe, consider maybe moving on from him to somebody else? So,
I mean, they won prior to a couple years ago, they won the Champions League in 2005, right? And then prior to that, they had never won the Premier League. So a lot of fans have a lot of this adoration. So it's the same thing with us Chelsea fans. I mean, look what, like, we all got upset when they sacked Lampard, right? I mean, I can see it. I don't
because
think
we're fans of him. That's the difference.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he was part of the club.
You know
and
what I mean?
everything.
It's
yeah,
different,
for sure.
you know what I
Super
mean?
I feel
frank.
like in the Premier League, there's some diehards.
Yeah.
No matter how bad your team is, like there's diehard Burnley fans that just live, eat,
yeah.
and breathe Burnley. They know they're most likely never going to win a Premier League. Maybe that one day they'll have that Leicester City, that type of run. But
that's how English soccer fans
and that's
are.
the best part about it, right? I mean, that's every European soccer. I mean, there's teams that that root for Torino in the Italian league, and there's so many, and they are diehard, and they'll go to battle for that team, even though the future has never been bright. It may have its bright spots, but teams like West Ham and other teams that kind of know in advance that you're probably never going to be able to compete. You'll beat them, don't get me wrong, but to win a Premier League,
you won't play that well
consistently. But
enough,
they're still going to go to bat for their team at all times, and they're still going to fight with the best of them. No matter how good you are.
So Primo Eddie chimed in while we were talking about it, and he heard it. He goes, "Do you guys like the move for Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea?" Obviously, we agree. We love it.
Yeah,
we think it's a
I
good
love
move. He says you guys already answered
Not to
my
Chelsea.
question.
I'm not agreeing with Chelsea. I just think in the
Of
Premier
course not,
League,
because you're not a Chelsea fan.
in Chelsea, in the Premier League,
we have a rivalry here.
in the Premier League, I think he fits perfectly, but obviously, I wouldn't want to see him with Chelsea.
Yeah,
so what do you think
it'll
about
be
Pulisic's play today? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it was the greatest. I think he could have played a little bit better. Obviously, the situation of him coming in after the goal scorer getting injured, it is what it is. I want to see more from him, though. I want them to use him a lot more. I want to see him starting more than I want to see him coming off of the bench, though.
I think he will. So I agree. It wasn't the most optimal performance, right? Like the second half of this past season after the COVID suspension or whatever you want, the COVID break, right? Yeah. Leading up to that COVID break, Pulisic was
the guy.
He was the guy. I mean, he was moving the ball. He was doing all that stuff. I don't know if it was the break that kind of took him out of it. Maybe got hurt, pulled something, whatever. I mean, because we did notice that he would start one game, then wouldn't even dress in the next game. There's some lingering and nagging issues and whatnot. I don't know if there's still a little bit of that, but also when I played, if I had to come in earlier than because all that stuff's strategized, right?
Correct.
Like, Brian, you're going to go in on minute 65 if this is the situation, or Rob, you're going to go in at this time if this is the situation, right? Like, it's all the strategy. That's how, same thing with basketball, right? So I don't know if they were, I mean, obviously you don't expect an injury to the person that just scored your goal 5 minutes prior. So I think it had a lot to do with not enough warming up. He is one of those players, I think, that requires like a full warm up, and you can't really warm up in a game. I used to be one of those idiots that would just jump on the field, and now I regret it. But
he rarely plays 90 minutes too. He's not one of those
Max
players.
Is like 70, 75.
Right. Even if he starts, or even if he comes in, obviously if he comes in later, he's not going to play all 90. But when he does start, I mean, I think the U.S. is probably the only place that he plays all 90 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, it's either injuries or it's just a lot of strategic. But he is, he's fast.
I think he's going to be. I think he's primed for I wouldn't say a breakout year, but it's going to be something that we expect, especially if he has somebody up front, because it'll open up that lane for him too. Because if people are focusing on Lukaku in the center front to the right or to the left, that opens up a lane for Pulisic to do what he did against Real Madrid when he didn't want to pass the ball to Timo anymore and just put the ball in himself, right?
Yeah.
So like there's situations like that are going to open up when all that pressure is on Lukaku, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff that's coming for Pulisic this coming year.
Fun to see. Hopefully we get the EPL locked up this season. Now, not only that, Unai, is that how you say it? Unai Emery? Unai Emery.
Yeah, Arsenal. The old
4
Arsenal.
times now he's lost the Super Cup. 3 with Sevilla, 1 with Villarreal, I believe.
Yeah, he's the Europa League champion of champions, but that's as far as he gets.
You know who he is? Who was the coach of the Buffalo Bills?
Levy. Mark
Levy. He's the Levy of the European
man.
Soccer League, basically. But yeah, man, good game today. Glad Chelsea got it. Another piece of silverware to add to their collection. Another trophy for Pulisic, which is good. He's becoming is going to turn into the most accomplished American.
I think he already is.
Probably has to be, right?
I think he already is as far as a club play.
Yeah. The guy is amazing. I just want to see more of him. He's still young, which is good. I just hope they use him right and don't ruin his career. You know what I mean? It's very possible. Seen it with a lot of players. If we're going back to EPL, I remember Michael Owen. Michael Owen's career got derailed big time in the EPL. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of players that are talented, but it all depends. Yeah, remember? But it all depends on how they actually use these guys and keep them prepared going forward. So, Chelsea, congrats from some fans here in the studio. We're glad that you pulled it off. Now, we got to continue with some soccer, but before we do so, again, we are live here on Straight Bet Sports, Gorilla Cross Radio. You are tuned in live on a Wednesday night. If you want to give us a call, phone lines are open as they are every single Wednesday night. 702-608-3259 is the phone number here to give us a call. We're going to jump into some Leo Messi talk. Obviously, I'm half Argentine. I'm a big Messi fan, as you guys already know. I've been very critical of him throughout his career. I even at one point said that Ronaldo was better than him, but now that he won the Copa America, I kind of balanced him out a little bit more even. Now, I'm not a Barcelona fan, but just like Rob, we used to support Barcelona because Rob's a big Suarez fan. Luis Suarez and Suarez played with Barcelona. So, obviously, I still got Messi's jerseys and all of that. 34 years old, guys. We saw the move. We saw what happened. If you guys saw the press conference, he was very teary-eyed, a lot of crying. You know, it's tough when you're someone that, when you were 13, you got signed by one of the, if not the greatest football organizations in the whole world, right? And they groomed him to be who he became. They already knew what they had when they got this guy. 13 years old, 34 now, 21 years of his, basically his whole life he has spent in Barcelona. His wife, he's got the same one. He's got the kids. They grew up there, everything, right? I'm not going to go through numbers and go through stats. We know what 600 and some goals, whatever the ridiculous number that he has.
All of the trophies.
All of the trophies. And even though some people say, well, some of those are Copa del Rey, they don't matter this much as the UEFA, this and that. He's got trophies.
What about 6 Ballon d'Ors? How about that?
How about that? Exactly. Now, we saw the move PSG, which I'll be honest with you, it kind of caught me off guard at first because you and I, Rob, in previous shows, we talked about.
Man City.
Exactly. If he leaves Barcelona, where's he going to go? He's going to go to Man City. He's going to go to Man City. So it was reported that Man City was actually one of the places that he was interested in going, but it just did not happen. Now, a lot of people say they're trying to put the blame on Barcelona. They try to put the blame on Laporta, right? I think that's his name.
The old president.
The old president.
Yeah.
Because he says one thing, people come out and say another. Messi in his press conference didn't want to throw anybody underneath the bus, but he did kind of basically mention, not in these exact words, I did everything I could to stay here. But the problem is, at the end of the day, it's a business, people. Just like any other sport, it's a business. Barcelona technically might not even be able to keep the guys that they brought in. One of them being El Kun Agüero, because those contracts aren't even finalized yet.
He's out 10 weeks.
Because that doesn't even matter now because those contracts aren't even finalized. The deals aren't even done. Barcelona is so much in depth. They said the only way that Messi would have been able to play this year was if he played for free.
Yeah,
that's how much they could not afford him this year. But then there's reports that come out and say that's not true. That there was a deal that was going to be made with other clubs in the league. There was other things going on with money that would have brought in money for the league that would have allowed Barcelona to sign
$3
Messi.
billion,
something like that.
For
That would have
10% of all their profits for
from
the next 10 years.
CVC company or whoever they were. That would have brought in some more revenue that would have allowed them to sign Barcelona, to sign Messi, right? At the end of the day, we're not the front office. We're fans. We're behind the mic. We're chopping it up. We're talking soccer. We can just talk about what we see and what we read. Now, I'm going to go with what Messi said. It's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers, press conference that he had the other day. He threw him under the bus without throwing him under the bus, if you want to call it that. I honestly believe and I feel that Messi did try to do everything he could to stay there, as where I don't think Barcelona did enough. By you bringing in some of these players, Kun Agüero being one of them, and hoping to keep Messi here, there's not much else there for Messi left. As where PSG got it made. 2-year deal, possible 3 years, I believe, with a player option for the third. He can make up to $75 million with endorsements and everything else. I believe his signing bonus is $35 million alone just to sign with the team. Crazy money, right? For a guy that's 34 years old, that some people say he doesn't have much left in the tank. I disagree. PSG, in my opinion, has the greatest transfer window, if you want to call it that, in soccer history. Look at the players that they have now set up on this team. You got Mbappe, right? Which is in line to take over as the best player in the world, in my opinion, right now.
He's leaving though.
I don't know.
It's already like in the books. He's leaving. He's got 1 year. That's it.
We'll see.
No, he's
Neymar.
leaving.
Okay, even if it's 1 year. You got this 1 year with Messi. Neymar.
They got Di Maria.
You got Di Maria. You got Sergio Ramos, which was Messi's
Arch rival.
arch rival competition. Now,
How many
joining
red
up with
cards did
him.
he get for fouling Messi?
Gianluigi, the goalkeeper.
Donnarumma.
And now, which kind of sucks, though.
They have Verratti.
What are we talking about?
Verratti?
They got Kimpembe, Verratti,
Name it off.
Wijnaldum from Liverpool,
Mm-hmm.
Marquinhos, and the kid that Chelsea was trying to pick up, Hakimi. This squad is pretty scary looking, but
They have Rafinha too. Wow.
yeah, no, and
So we know they're
he's a
going to
bench
run
player.
through.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to run through
Rafinha's
League
a
One.
bench player.
They're going to run through League One.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, right?
And that's
Well, that's the question, right?
that's the
Like,
problem I have
yeah.
with the signing. Go ahead.
That's like the big lingering question in my opinion, or in my mind is, yes, they'll smoke Ligue 1, right? You have the only two kind of competitive teams are Lyon and Marseille, and then after that, you know, how long is that depth gonna last, right? Yeah, you got some young guns and stuff, but if Leo Messi is gonna be that one peg that puts you over, and he gets hurt, I'm not saying he's 34. I mean, sports medicine is way better now than it was 10, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Tom Brady. This dude's like throwing freaking laser beams from like the 5-yard line at 43 and he's talking about playing until like his arm literally
50.
falls off, right? Yeah. Something
Till I
crazy
can't
like that.
play no more.
Then you got Derek Carr saying he wants to play till he's 45 now with sports medicine, right? So I'm not saying
Derek
it's
Carr
not,
got to make sure he has a job past this
Yeah.
season
He's not
before he
even
starts
in the
talking
league
about
till
that.
45.
but what I'm saying is if Leo Messi gets hurt and this same core that was here last year, with the exception of the goalkeeper, Hakimi and Sergio Ramos, like Sergio Ramos, in my opinion, in the last couple of years has become a liability in the back line for Real Madrid. Just my opinion. Hakimi, fast dude, hasn't been really tested. He's just he's a prospect, right? And then you got everybody else. Wijnaldum, proven Champions League winner. Verratti, proven. Kimpembe, kind of a question mark for me. Neymar, he's done it. You know, so there is some talent there. I just don't know how long that's gonna last, because not only do they have Ligue 1, they have their cup, the French Cup, whatever it's called. I'm not sure off the top of my head. You have the Champions League, which they've qualified for as well. Like, is that depth going to last? Even with a Rafinha on the bench, even with a Keylor Navas on the bench, right? Like, who's going to be their cup goalkeeper? There's so many different
Question
aspects.
marks still.
Yeah, they're like, in my opinion, right? Am I saying that they're not going to win it all? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's some question marks as far as how it's going to gel together. I mean, they just struggled against arguably one of the worst teams in French football in Troy this past weekend, and barely squeaked out a 2-1 win, you know? And that's without a Messi, obviously, and Messi's probably not even going to be playing until about a month from now.
Yeah.
So you got 3 or 4 games that they got to figure out their own system, and then you got to put in arguably the best player of all time in there and share the ball with him. You know, there's a lot of guys that like having the ball on their foot right there.
I like the move.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
I wish Messi
don't
the
like
best.
it?
Obviously,
I don't like it at all.
I'm getting the jersey, and I don't know if this is his mentality.
You're going to pay $120 for
No,
that?
no, trust me. But I don't know if this is his mentality, but this is why I think he got the number 30, and we're going to move on because we got a couple minutes left here on the show. To let everybody know the guy in front of you that just burnt you, that just juked you and just scored is in his 30s. I'm just saying. Because remember, when Deion Sanders came back and played with the Ravens, he wore number 37 and let everybody know the dude covering you that just beat you and took that ball from you is 37 years old. So, hey, maybe it's a mental thing. Who knows? But it's also a number he's used in the past when he started with Barcelona.
Yeah.
So he's going back to it.
Yeah, that jersey's
But-
$120 unless they're replica.
Not paying 120, but we'll
That's
move
fair.
on from there. Good conversations, man. Best of luck to Leo Messi. Can't wait for that season to get started and get everything going there. We got about 8 minutes here left on the show, give or take. So real quick, I just want to get your thoughts. Couple seconds. Let me know. Rob, you and I talked about this in the past before you weren't on that show, but we had Kevin Kruger, UNLV men's basketball coach, on the show. I think they're gonna hire his pops. I'm
AD?
glad
Yeah,
Desiree
I think
Reed
so.
Francois is gone. Even when she signed that extension, I knew that she wasn't gonna be here. People are saying, "Oh, well, she's done so much." The Fertitta complex. Nope, she didn't do
lot of
that. That was
piggybacking.
Tony Sanchez. Whether you want to accept it or not, Sanchez got that done, not her. The only good thing, in my opinion, that she's done for UNLV and UNLV sports, she hired Lindy LaRock. She's a friend of the show. She's been on our show. She was great in her first year, coach of the year. I think Mountain West Conference coach of the year. They had a great run to start the season, and when they got into their tournament, didn't do that great, but still, first year as a head coach ever, and look what she did. I think that's the only good hire, but I think it's good that she's gone. I think they go after Lon Kruger, even though it's tough because if it doesn't work out, he's got to fire his son. Real quick, Rob, what do you think?
I think it's a good signing. I mean, we talked about it when we on that show, not with him on it, obviously, because I wasn't there. But but how long is the leash at that point? Like, that's an awkward conversation, right? That you have to have. And I don't know. Is that what everyone's saying? Is that it's now
Likely
like all
that's gonna
folding out? It's all playing out to work out this way, because that is it's almost like a conflict of interest, right?
Yeah.
When you have someone, when someone, I don't want to say they work for you, but you know, you're gonna have to report to someone, and that person is your dad, right? So it would be great from a recruiting standpoint to have two big names, or his name on top of it, all of it, but I don't think that's the way that I don't think that's fair to everyone else that's going to be working in the athletic department for them to how long is everyone's leash at that point,
Exactly.
right? So that's just my 2 cents on it. Yeah, I mean it would be great for recruiting. Obviously, we want to see more. We want to see a better product on the court when it comes to UNLV, because we go to the games. Correct. And we want to see a bigger crowd and just everything. And overall, I think that it's probably not going to work out to where he ends up being the AD.
Erik, what you think, bro? I know you got thoughts on that too. I know you follow UNLV basketball, and I'll talk to you about that.
I really don't. I've been to a couple of UNLV games. I just felt like they could have more fans in the stands, man. There's a lot of empty spaces, man. Not everybody gets going when they score and stuff like that. It was kind of weird to me. I enjoyed it. I enjoy basketball, period. But I just thought they could do with a little bit better with some fans out there showing some initiative.
What you think, Brian?
Goodbye, DRF. Good riddance.
Hasta luego.
Who?
Desiree.
Yeah,
Desiree.
I don't even want to spend the time saying her whole name. I think I'm kind of with Rob on this. It's a weird situation, but I don't think it's a bad hire if they do go with Lon. There just has to be some concessions made that he can't make decisions for the basketball team. And I think that's what's happened before at other places, right? Where if there's like that family stuff, like, so it's not nepotism from the top down.
But that'd be hard if you bring them in and say you can't do anything that has to do with basketball moves when you're a basketball guy.
No, as far as decisions for management of the team, right?
Gotcha.
So I forget what college it was. Like, it was about 10, 15 years ago. The AD was the dad of the coach, and they just did
didn't
bad,
work. Gotcha.
and then had somebody else. I think it was like the president that's like, all right, you're out, and then he was there for like 4 more years after the fact.
Gotcha.
The AD was. So like, as long as those kinds of situations are made, I have no problems with it. I mean, if anything, like you said, it's gonna help with recruiting. I mean, he built a great program before he left for Oklahoma. So
Neil chimes in. Neil from Electric Company SG. He says they need to engage with students to make sure they come back as alumni season ticket buyers. They failed to do that over a decade.
Yeah, the Rebellion was supposed to do that.
And I know Quan agrees with that statement as well, because we've talked about UNLV sports in general and how they treat some of the basketball alumni.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not right. You know what I mean? Yep. They got to be more in with them and have them part of it, I think. I'm not necessarily saying hire certain people that are from the past all the time.
Anthony Bennett, dude.
Don't get us started on Anthony Bennett.
Bruh.
But yeah, they got to be with them a lot more with the alumni and get that going. But good riddance, Desiree. Hopefully the next person that gets hired does a lot better job than her, because I wasn't a big fan of hers. So 2 minutes, guys, real quick here. Everyone's wearing the Dodger hat. Based off of William and Hill, the Dodgers are the current favorite at plus 250 to win the World Series, yet they are only number one in the wild card, not even leading their division.
3.5 games behind.
The Giants, which have the best record in baseball and have had so most of the year, are plus 700 to win. No, I'm sorry, plus 900 to win it all. And the Rays, which have the second best record in baseball right now and lead the AL, are 12 to 1. So here's my take on that real quick. I was actually looking at this. I like to look at dogs and things like that. I've been talking about the Giants for over a month now, and I don't understand how they are still that high. So I'm going to sprinkle some money on the Giants to win it, and I'm also going to sprinkle some money on the Rays to win it. I just think both of these teams are not getting any respect, and who knows, it might be time for the Rays to win it. They haven't won anything. Normally the Giants win it every 3 years or whatever it is. I'm just going based off of bets and play and the way that all these teams have played. I don't believe that the Dodgers should be the favorite right now. Do I think they can win the World Series? 100%. Great moves, everything they've done. I think they can win it. But based off of what has been going on, I don't believe they should be the favorite. Real quick, what do you guys think about those odds and those bets? And who do you think wins it all?
It's just well, go ahead. It's just from like a liability standpoint, right? Everyone who lines up, chances are they're going to be betting on the Dodgers to win the World Series. And then it also talks, it also shows that, you may have the best record, or you may be leading the Dodgers, I think, by 3.5 now after today's games. But when you get to the playoffs, right, it's a whole different scenario. I mean, the regular season in any sport is always different than the playoffs, and it's tough to, it's tough for a lot of it to translate into the playoffs. And I think, once the Dodgers get there, they're comfortable. That the Giants haven't been. I mean, I don't want to say they haven't been relevant, but they haven't been relevant in a few years. We'll say a few years.
Yeah, they basically rebuilt.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they haven't been relevant in a few years, and I think that that any people on the players on their team right now don't have that experience. So I think that that's going to play a big factor when it comes to playoffs.
Brian, 30 seconds, and then we'll go to Erik, and we'll wrap it up.
Give me the Dodgers all day. Rays are not going to get past. You got to keep an eye out on the A's and the Sox.
All right.
The White Sox, not the Red Sox.
Okay. I agree with that. I don't think the Red Sox will do anything. Erik, what you got?
Let's
Final
not forget,
take.
man, the Dodgers are reigning champs. They did nothing but get better this year. I can't see them losing to anybody. It could just be because I'm a big Dodger fan. I just think they're too good, man. And
they're
I'll
doing
take
this
them all
without
day.
Dustin May. They're doing this without
Right.
Kershaw. Mookie Betts is in the IL. They've got a lot of guys in the injury list, and they're still putting up numbers right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, belly bombs today. Two home runs. I mean,
it's good to see.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can keep
Bats
it
are
going.
getting
Hopefully
hot.
they can keep going, get hot, continue that streak. Well, we are out of time here, guys. I want to thank everybody in the studio tonight that was a part of the show. Erik Navarro from Line 'em Up by Erik. Brian Aleman of the American Outlaws for joining us tonight as well in studio and sponsoring tonight's show. My co-host, as always, Rob G, directly in front of me. And the man that makes it all possible behind the wheels of steel, behind the big board, Quan59. We greatly appreciate you. My final thought tonight is just a big shout out to Daniel Cristosomo, ex-Las Vegas Lights FC player. I talked to him a few days after the signing. Come on, this isn't a sad moment. This is a good moment, Quan. He signed with LAFC.
Good
He's
for
now
him,
part
man.
of the LAFC
That's awesome.
MLS
Yeah, good for
team.
him.
We're going to have him on the show again here soon. And hopefully we have Brett Lashbrook on, too. We're trying to do a little something possibly with that Raider jersey and some of those tickets that they got going on with that. I know
Why you
that
pointing at
Brian's
me?
got some thoughts about that.
Why you
'cause he's
gotta
made
point
you
it at
smirk.
me?
But again, you
I
are
don't
tuned
know
in to
nothing.
Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. We will see you next Wednesday night. Same time, same channel. We appreciate you. Peace.
See ya.
Go get your haircut.